Good afternoon, and thank you to everyone who's joining us today as we announce the launch of Diabetes Hope Foundation's new support program for caregivers of youth living with type 1 diabetes, PEP Talks. PEP Talks is generously funded by the Ontario Trillium Foundation. My name is Heather Miller, and I'm the Program Director for Diabetes Hope Foundation, or DHF. Joining me today are the Honorable Deepak Anand, MPP of Mississauga-Malton, Sarjeet Sani, who is a volunteer member of the Ontario Trillium Foundation Grant Review Team for the Halton Peel Catchment, Barbara Pasternak, founder and chair at Diabetes Hope Foundation, Abby Cloth, a DHF volunteer and student living with type 1 diabetes, Ruth Cohen, Abby's mom and advisor for the PEP Talks program, and Lise Rouleau, program coordinator for the PEP Talks program. Thank you all for being a part of this exciting announcement today, and a special thank you to the Ontario Trillium Foundation for supporting the work we do in the Halton Peel region. Diabetes Hope Foundation has been providing free programs and resources to students living with type 1 diabetes and their families for 25 years. Founded by Barbara Pasternak in 1999, after 2 of her 3 children were diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, DHF recognizes there's a gap in services for youth who are living with diabetes as they transition out of the pediatric healthcare system while also preparing to start post-secondary school. Recognizing the challenges families face during the transition period, Barbara launched our scholarship program to celebrate students across Canada who exemplify what it means to be leaders in their communities through academics and volunteerism, all while managing the daily complexities of living with type 1 diabetes. With the support of our donors and the diabetes community, we have awarded 900 scholarships to date. In response to the social and emotional need of youth living with type 1 diabetes during their transition, DHF has developed a number of free resources to support them. DHF's unique programs and resources are designed to support students through the transition to post-secondary school, as well as the adult healthcare system. Our programs and online resources offer invaluable information and peer support during what can be a very challenging transition. All of our programs are developed using feedback from diabetes clinics across Canada, as well as in consultation with youth and families who are impacted directly by diabetes. We cannot do the work that we do without the support of our youth volunteers like Abby, who serve on our scholarship review committee, speak as panelists at our webinars and events, and share their time as peer mentors to students entering post-secondary school. At DHF, we've always recognized that for children and youth living with type 1 diabetes, it's never just their illness, as the entire family rallies to support them in the daily challenges it presents. Parents and caregivers are tasked early on with working to understand a complex and often unpredictable illness in order to ensure their children are healthy. This role is a daunting one, and while there is amazing support from the pediatric diabetes clinics across Canada, providing information, guidance, and encouragement, the 24/7 nature of diabetes leads to exhaustion, burnout, and feelings of isolation for caregivers. With the funding from Ontario Trillium Foundation, DHF is excited to be able to offer PEP Talks, an enhanced caregiver support program that creates a sense of well-being, community, and belonging for those supporting youth with type 1 diabetes. Providing both the tools to successfully navigate the transition years and a space to connect with other caregivers to discuss the highs and lows of diabetes management, we look forward to supporting 80 caregivers in the Halton Peel region who are impacted daily by type 1 diabetes. We're extremely grateful to Ontario Trillium Foundation for recognizing the need for such an innovative program and for supporting our work in the diabetes community. I'd now like to turn it over to the Honorable Deepak Anand, MPP of Mississauga-Malton.
Thank you so much, Heather, and really appreciated putting all of us together at some same time. I was really touched by what you just said. I always look at it this way. Many times we talk about Peel region being the capital of diabetes for Canada. And when I think it is, many times we talk about the data does not represent the reality many times. For an example, saying that 11% of Peel region has a diabetes. But if you really look at the people who have children in their home, it's not 1% or 10%, it is 100% of them. And that it's the reality for those caregivers, for those people who are going through that transition with the diabetes, that is 100%. So wherein these resources are going to be helpful. And I agree with you, you're not taking away the trouble, you're not taking away the pain, but holding the hand, you're making it easier for them to navigate and live through that transition. So I want to acknowledge and thank each and every one of you for taking care of the community. And I hope and I wish you continue the good work and be the role model, not just in Ontario, but the rest of Canada and world as well. So my best wishes. I am thankful to God that at least I'm able to contribute in a very minute minutes or whatever contribution I can do. However, I want to assure you, anytime you need help and support, to be the champion and ambassador and take it back to the minister or the ministry or even to the people as well and the resident in my riding, uh, please count me in. I truly believe the job that you, me, and each one of us doing is because God has blessed us to be in a position where we can contribute. So it is our moral responsibility to do as much as possible to give back to the community. Like any performance athlete, our lives are have a limited shelf life. More we do in the limited time, more we can give back to the community, more we can thank God for giving us this opportunity. With those notes, I truly appreciate what you're doing. And please, anything I can do and my office can do, please count us as your extension of your team. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate that support. It means a lot. Next, I'd like to introduce again Sarbjeet Sani, who is representing the Ontario Trillium Foundation as a member of the volunteer grant review team for the Halton Peel catchment area.
Hello, Heather, and thanks, Honorable Deepika Anand, MPP, who joined us and gives very good comments regarding our foundation. So I am thankful for him, and I assure we are always helping these non-profit organizations which are doing great job for the community. And but first of all, before I begin, I would like to acknowledge that we are on the treaty lands and territory of indigenous people. I would like to express appreciation to those whose territory we reside on and honor the indigenous people who have been living and working on the land for thousands of years. Good day, everyone. My name is Sarbjeet Sani, and I am a member of the Ontario Trillium Foundation's grant review team in the Halton region. I am honored to join you all today to celebrate your accomplishment as a valued organization in the community, as well as congratulate you on the resilient community funding you have received from Ontario Trillium Foundations. As an agency of the Government of Ontario and one of Canada's leading granting foundations, this year Ontario Trillium Foundation is celebrating 40 years of grant making in Ontario. Since 1982, OTF has been working to build healthy and vibrant communities across the province. With an initial budget of $15 million, Ontario Trillium Foundation has grown significantly and now invests over $100 million annually into communities and organizations just like yours. Last year, Ontario Trillium Foundation invested in over 1,000 non-profit-led community projects and partnerships. Our mission remains simple: to help build healthier, more vibrant communities across Ontario. We are proud to support organizations like yours and know that the 53,800 resilient communities grant to fund the certain of the caregiver support program will go a long way toward doing just that, now and into the future. I am very thankful for your organization who is working from last 24 years in the community and doing their great job. I am very, very thankful and again congratulate you once again. Thank you for having me here today and doing the great job for the community. And also thankful Honorable Deepika Anand, who is supporting our Ontario Trillium Foundation, because OTF can't do anything without the support of the government, from where we are getting the grants and divide between the organization like yours. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the role that you play at Ontario Trillium Foundation. I'd like to now turn it over to Barbara Pasternak, the founder and chair of the Diabetes Hope Foundation.
I really am just beginning to to feel the impact of both you, Sarabjit, and Deepak's message. In 25 years plus that I've been doing this, I have never been so emotionally overcome in a wonderful way, how much support and passion you have for the work that we do in your region and beyond. I always say it's been a lonely job, but it has been very, very gratifying to know what the results are. But as a government official and government representation, that you're showing the strength and the leadership, I'm totally touched emotionally. Thank you for your beautiful words and your support, and thank you. We're going to do the best we can in the community to make a difference for the kids and parents. My own story is very similar to that of many families. Lives were changed and touched by diabetes. Before diabetes moved into my family's home in our lives, we were just an everyday run-of-the-mill hockey family with 3 sons, and my husband was the coach. In 1994, we were knocked off course by this unrelentingly silent type 1 diabetes. My husband Joe and I were blindsided when 2 of our youngest sons were both diagnosed with diabetes within a few years apart. We knew nothing about the disease other than our lives were about to change dramatically. Our heads were spinning as we realized we had a new, uninvited house guest who would never leave. Once we stopped trying to understand why this happened to us, my husband Joe and I made the decision to make sure that no matter what, we will let our kids be kids. We wanted them to know they could not only live with diabetes, but thrive with it and grow to be healthy and very strong individuals and become whoever they wanted to be. As parents with 2 boys with type 1, managing the illness became the focus of our lives. At the time, there was zero connection with any parents who understand what we were going through. Almost, it was a topic, it was tabooed. I reached out often to some of the clinics the kids went to, and I pleaded with the clinicians, is there a parent I can talk to? Am I doing okay? What else should I know? And it was really a very lonely journey, and we were hoping that we were doing the right thing. While our healthcare team was phenomenal, we were missing the reassurance that comes from talking with others about it. Other moms who are also getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning to check their blood sugars to make sure that the kids were okay. Other dads who made sure to pack a few extra juice boxes in their hockey bags in case their son or daughter went low while on the ice. Other parents who are doing their best to help their children live their best lives and just be kids, despite the complexity of diabetes. As Diabetes Hope Foundation has grown over the last 25 years, we have seen how changes in technology have made a tremendous impact on caring for youth with diabetes, and know how vital a role the primary caregivers continue to play, ensuring the health of their children. The 24/7 nature of managing T1D, including continuous access to information and data, can often feel very overwhelming and very isolating for caretakers and caregivers tasked with managing their children's diabetes, leading to burnout for the whole family. And in response to the need, Diabetes Hope Foundation piloted a webinar for caregivers of type 1 diabetes as a way of connecting families in the height of COVID-19. Offering virtual workshops starting in 2021, we met with 50 families who are looking for information and support about how to manage the children's diabetes. We focused on the crucial transition years as adolescents move into adulthood, including the new adventures associated with starting post-secondary school, transitioning from the pediatric healthcare to the adult care. Both of these transitions provides unique challenges for families impacted by diabetes. We wanted to give the parents and caregivers tasks with guiding the transition of space to learn and to share together. Once the pandemic eased, we saw that the need for programming in this area continued, as demonstrated by the enthusiasm of the parents and the caregivers from pediatric diabetes clinics across the GTA. The need, and obviously grown post-pandemic, fueled by this spike in diabetes diagnosis and mental health issues amongst our youth, the staff at DHF recognized that this warranted the expansion of our standalone workshop to include a virtual workshop series and online resources to meet the evolving needs of those who are supporting youth with diabetes at such a crucial time of their lives. With the generous funding we have received from OTF, we are now able to expand this impactful program for families across Halton and Peel region, enhancing the original workshops, the PEP Talk program, a 4-part virtual program focused on providing parents and caregivers the tools, information, and support they need to successfully manage their children's transition to post-secondary school to adulthood. Additional program content is being developed throughout this initiative, including learning how to help students move forward independently, managing their own diabetes, adapting to changes in family relationships, the importance of self-care for caregivers, stayed focused on how to instill hope in their children so they can plan for the future without letting diabetes stand in their way. We are extremely grateful and thankful for Ontario Trillium Foundation for recognizing the need that exists within the diabetes community and for supporting Diabetes Hope Foundation in building a program to address these needs. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Barbara. I'm now going to turn it over to Abby, who is one of our DHF alumni, who share a little bit about her own journey through the transition years and living with type 1 diabetes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Abby. On the outside, I may look like a typical 21-year-old. However, 2 weeks before my 5th birthday, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. This autoimmune disease requires 24/7 management with daily insulin administration and constant blood sugar monitoring to ensure that I am healthy today and tomorrow. Until I was old enough to understand the complexities of managing diabetes, my mom took on the job of making sure that I was okay 24/7. In 2020, during the COVID-19 pandemic, I graduated from high school and began preparing for my university journey at York University. While I was excited to start my degree in dance and concurrent education, I knew that it was going to be a big change, both academically and in regards to my diabetes management. As September quickly approached, I began to feel really nervous and fearful of the what ifs that could happen on campus without my mom there to mitigate or prevent. I was fearful of going dangerously low and becoming unaware of my hypoglycemia. I was fearful of being judged by my peers because I have an insulin pump on my hip and continuous glucose monitoring insertion on my arm. I was anxious about accessing my academic accommodations and my professors not respecting them. Added to my transition between high school and post-secondary, I was also in the process of transitioning between endocrinology clinics from pediatric to adult care. I found this transition extremely stressful. It was very difficult to start navigating my endocrinology appointments alone without my mom's presence, support, and her being able to answer any medical questions that I didn't know the answers to. I felt it was all of a sudden and I needed to really step up to the plate and that it was a challenge, but thankfully I was able to overcome. I'm eternally grateful to my mom who stood by me through the transition between endocrinology clinics and from high school to university. She was a sounding board when I didn't know the answers or I didn't know what to do in certain situations and helped me draft emails to professors when I needed to advocate for myself when my accommodations were not being met. She's also given me the confidence in myself to become an independent T1D who is able to successfully manage her diabetes on a university campus and in an adult endocrinology clinic. Looking back on that time now, I can see that the journey was just as difficult for my mom, and she did it all on her own without any sounding board or support system in place. That is why the PEP Talk program is so important. So other parents and caregivers have the support they need to navigate all of the changes that come with the transition without having to do it alone. Through connecting and sharing their stories of challenges and triumphs, parents can access a community of support that can help them to be better equipped to help their children become stronger, healthier adults. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abby. Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today, Mr. Nand. We really appreciate it.
Thank you again, and looking forward to working together. I don't use the word supporting because we are working together, so working together. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you, Abby, for sharing your story with us. And I'm just going to sort of flip the coin now. We'll turn it over to Ruth, who is Abby's mom, to share her perspective as a caregiver of a youth living with type 1 diabetes.
Hi there, I'm Ruth Cohen, and I just wanted to start by thanking Heather and Barbara for inviting me here today and giving me a few minutes of airtime, and to Abby for teaching me the meaning of resilience and perseverance and how to let go in real time. So I'll read off my little script now. From the time our children are born, whether they're our biological or adoptive kids, we are placed in situations where we are required to let go. We must share our children with our partners, siblings, extended family, friends, colleagues, neighbors. And we must also encourage our children's age-appropriate independence, crawling, standing, walking with assistance and then not, and eventually running. We baby-proof our homes, and when the time is right, we introduce more formalized structure and routine by way of daycare or nurseries. We contemplate extracurriculars. Our kids start school, and then in the blink of an eye, they are graduating high school and going off to university, to college, or entering the workforce. As a parent throughout this process, I often asked myself, what is the purpose of parenting? Borrowing from the works of Barbara Colarusso, I believe it is to teach our children to make decisions, to take responsibility, and to learn from their mistakes. This process, however, is made even more complicated when parents are forced to factor in the balancing and managing their child's autoimmune disease. Learning to let go of a type 1 diabetic means that one or more of the following critical life messages will be conveyed. I believe in you. I trust you. And I know that you can handle this. This process of letting go is one that starts very early on and focuses on empowering children with type 1 diabetes to manage their health in an age-appropriate way. When they're younger, it means getting their finger pokes ready, helping with meal prep, replenishing juices in knapsacks that go off to school or extracurriculars. As they get older, that responsibility shifts to filling prescriptions, attending appointments on their own, and learning to self-advocate. It requires caregivers to be actively engaged and hands-on in an age-appropriate way. For many caregivers and parents of students with type 1 diabetes, that process can be extremely exhausting, lonely, and socially isolating. That is why the PEP Talks program is so important. Through supporting parents and caregivers who are greatly impacted by a diagnosis of diabetes, the Diabetes Hope Foundation is providing them with the opportunity to learn critical skills to raise independent thinkers. It will build a community of support around caregivers as they go through the process of letting go, and will help them build the confidence that their children are going to be not just okay, but when they enter their next developmental stage of life, that these children will thrive. I believe as parents, it is our responsibility to give our children two things in life: roots, which form their foundation, and wings so that they can soar. This is important for all children, but especially those with type 1 diabetes, who must have a foundation of self-worth, self-confidence, inner discipline, and understanding what is within their control, but that control must come from within themselves. As parents, we must balance the work of letting go with still being there to support our children with T1D, because we must invariably communicate to our children that they are listened to, they are cared for, and they are important to us. As Abby mentioned, she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes 2 weeks before her 5th birthday in May 2007. I've been on my own with Abby since November 2005. From the outset, I chose to think of diabetes as an obstacle, not a barrier. I refused to allow it to define who my daughter was as a child or who she is today as a young adult. And a big part of that was learning to let go. Abby transitioned from high school to university in 2020, as she's already said, during the height of COVID. I wish PEP Talks had been around when Abby was preparing to transition from post-secondary to university, because it would have allowed me to forge relationships with other parents of type 1 diabetics in similar situations, and may have reduced my own feelings of exhaustion, fear, social isolation, and increase my sense of identification and validation. As I look at my daughter, I know that I have single-handedly raised a strong-willed, competent young adult. I call her my badass ballerina. Abby is a 4th-degree black belt in mixed martial arts, but she's also studied competitive dance for the past 18 years. She's mentioned that she's doing a concurrent degree in dance and education at York. She manages her diabetes completely independently. I can confidently say that she is soaring. I am so excited that the Diabetes Hope Foundation continues to celebrate the strength, resilience, and perseverance of those in the diabetes community. With the PEP Talks program, they are recognizing the important role that caregivers play in raising confident, independent thinking young adults, and they are providing a greatly needed support for parents throughout their developmental journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ruth, for sharing your insights and your story. I know Abby needs to run to dance class, so thank you so much, Abby, for joining us today and sharing your story again. So I'm going to just throw it over to Lise Rouleau, who's the program coordinator for our PEP Talks program, just to give some information about how you can find out more and register if you think it's going to be a program that'll help support you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Wow. After all those stories, I'm feeling emotional too. It's incredible to hear Ruth and Abby and to know that I'm blessed to be part of this process as well. How wonderful. So I'm the program coordinator for PEP Talks, and we're doing exactly what Ruth said. We're supporting caregivers. We're creating a sense of well-being, community, belonging, and a network that parents and youth can enjoy. So we are launching our first program, our first webinar on November 22nd, and it's around a growth mindset and opportunities and switching our language. So from challenges to opportunities, and some of the things we're going to be talking about is a growth mindset, the tips, how to model it, how to share it for ourselves as well as our children. And then some of the other workshops we're going to have is relationships, boundaries, communication, and it's a 4-part series. And of course, we're going to end with self-care. I think the biggest part of this is the building of the community. So we also have a Facebook page that's going to be dedicated to caregivers through PEP Talks. So please look that up and join us. And of course, we have the website, and Diabetes Hope Foundation has so many resources on there. So check that out. But register for our first webinar. We want to see you. We want the feedback. We can only improve with having you there and telling us what we need to do, what we need to share, and how we can support all of you. So I look forward to seeing you on the 22nd. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Lise. I would just like to say another big thank you to everyone who's joined us today as we sort of launched the PEP Talks program. So the Honorable Deepak Anand, Sarjeet Sani, Barbara Pasternak, Abby Cloth, Ruth Cohen, and Lise Rouleau. If you have any questions about the PEP Talks program or the programs we offer at Diabetes Hope Foundation, you're welcome to send me an email, heather@diabeteshopefoundation.com, or you can connect with Lise at peptalks@diabeteshopefoundation.com. Another huge thank you to Ontario Trillium Foundation for believing in the work that we do and supporting the families in the Peel Halton region. And we look forward to working with you all soon. Thank you so much.